First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, we need to take a quick look at the US stock market. This right here is the Nasdaq 100 index on the weekly time frame. So basically the tech stocks. And as of right now, obviously, as I've been saying recently here on the channel over the last couple of weeks or so, the stock market has been seeing quite a dump in the short term. But when we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, at least for now, this could just be a minor pullback within a larger bullish trend, except we're now seeing a massive signal flash that we need to pay attention to here in the weekly RSI. And so first of all, if we're looking at the weekly RSI in regards to the bull markets and bear markets for the Nasdaq 100 index, the stock market, we can see that during this bull market right here, between around the start of 2023 all the way up until recent, basically the entire time along the way towards the upside, the RSI on the weekly time frame remains basically in the top half of the indicator, for the most part above 50, basically above this area in the RSI in between around 45 to 55. And in fact, we found a lot of support along that area within the RSI. So in other words, if we came within that area in the RSI, around the center of the RSI, around that 50 level, they were actually some decent buy the dip opportunities along the way towards the upside. And then if we're taking a look at the previous bear market in the US stock market, which was indeed 2022, and basically started around the very end of 2021 and lasted all the way up until the end of 2022, basically, so a 1 year bear market. And if we're taking a look at that bear market in the US stock market, we saw the exact opposite here in the RSI. Basically, the RSI for the entire bear market, for the most part, stayed below 50, and especially below this area in the RSI in between 45 to 55. And in fact, multiple times during that 1 year bear market, we actually used that area within the RSI as resistance. And so in other words, when the weekly RSI for the stock market, for the Nasdaq 100 index, when we were below it and we were actually rejecting from this area within the RSI, they were great opportunities to take profits or potentially open short positions. And then if we're taking a look at the times where we actually confirmed a breakout above this area or below this area in the weekly RSI, previously they were reversal signals in terms of the bull market and bear markets here, not just the little short-term movements. And so for example, it was right at the very beginning of 2022, around January 2022, we actually confirmed a break to the downside in the weekly RSI for the Nasdaq 100 index. And of course, by that point right there, we already saw a bit of a short-term dump for a couple of weeks, but ultimately what came next was much more bearish price action for almost a year. And then on the other hand, once we finally confirmed a breakout with a weekly candle close in the RSI here above around 55, above this area, once again in between 45 to 55 in the weekly RSI, especially because we retested that area, flipping it into new support, that was a signal telling us the bull market is back on. And so as we can see right now, we are indeed flashing a massive bear market signal in the stock market RSI for the Nasdaq 100 index, which is definitely something to pay attention to, because the last time this actually happened here in the RSI, a breakdown below the center line, below this area, basically we started a major bear market that lasted for approximately 1 year. And now obviously not all bear markets are exactly 1 year long. So for example, some stock market bear markets might only be a few months, some might be multiple years. So just keep in mind, just because we saw this outcome the last time this signal confirmed, it does not guarantee we're going to see the exact same thing again. And technically speaking, we're still waiting for a bit of confirmation here to actually properly confirm this break towards the downside in the weekly RSI with a weekly candle close. And the next weekly candle close, in case you're wondering, for the Nasdaq 100 index on this chart right here, happens in around 1 day from now. And in case you're new to all of this, the reason why I'm talking about the stock market on a crypto channel is because crypto is highly correlated to the US stock market. Now, it's not a perfect correlation, but if the stock market has a bear market or a bull market, usually the crypto market is doing something similar. So for example, between 2023 and 2024, stocks were bullish at the same time as Bitcoin and crypto being bullish. And then obviously during 2022, when the stock market was in a bear market, crypto was also in a bear market during 2022. And so while I'm seeing a bunch of other crypto influencers out there saying we're about to go to the moon, we're going to new all-time highs in the next few weeks, we're looking very, very bullish, I'm actually telling you that we actually have some possible downside risk that we need to be aware of. It is worth pointing out these potential warning signals which are currently flashing. And speaking about warning signals to pay attention to, if we're taking a look at this 4-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously, as I've said recently here on the channel, we just recently confirmed a bearish signal in the super trend indicator on the 4-day Bitcoin chart. And obviously we saw a bit of a false signal right here. We still stayed a little bit bearish after that signal, but the last couple of times before that, we actually confirmed this bearish signal. We did see a decent bit more bearish price action following the bearish signal, either over the next few months or possibly longer in the case of 2022. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, as I've already been saying for over a month now, for around 1.5 months, we have this massive bearish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, basically telling us we should not really be expecting any bullish momentum, at least in the shorter term. And if we're simply taking a look at the last couple of times we confirmed this signal on this indicator on this time frame, we either saw a pullback in the price or potentially more of a bearish trend in the price over the next few weeks or months. And once again, this has already been playing out for around 1.5 months now. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we still have a significant bearish divergence confirmed and playing out on the Bitcoin price chart, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And once again, this is a major warning signal I've been talking about basically every day over the last 2 months or so, telling you we should not really be expecting any significant bullish momentum for some time. And now, of course, as I've also been saying here on the channel, yes, we can see some short-term bounces here and there. Of course, I'm not saying we're going to see only bearish price action. So for example, we can bounce from support levels and bounce from oversold signals and see some short-term bullish signals play out here and there from time to time, but ultimately do not really be expecting a lot of bullish momentum towards the upside like this, for example, at least anytime soon. But we can still use these information to our advantage to actually profit from the crypto market, even if it's bearish, using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way towards the downside, or we can simply just wait for some lower prices to accumulate cheaper crypto assets to profit from an eventual recovery at some point later on. And if anything, you should be excited about bearish price action, because as I've said recently here on the channel, the more bearish price action we see, the bigger the opportunities actually become. So a lot of people really lose interest in crypto and basically log off and stop watching crypto once we start seeing a bunch of bearish price action. But if anything, that is the point where you should be paying the most attention. And if you want to get set up ready to go to take advantage of the next trading opportunities in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, you have to be set up on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm starting to take more of my trades right now over on 2bit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, a brand new Mercedes-Benz or $50,000 in trading rewards, simply just by trading crypto using that link. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can still claim some decent bonuses using the link below this video, like for example, a $30 sign up bonus and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus onto your 2bit account. And on top of all of that, if you simply use the link below this video to 2bit, you're automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees. You get lowered trading fees over on 2bit, but once again, only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit or if you cannot access 2bit for whatever reason, there is also BTNX as another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video as another option out there. And also, if you use the link below this video to BTNX, you can claim some massive deposit bonuses and an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees over on BTNX. But once again, that massive fee discount is only available if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is also a no KYC exchange as well. But with that being said, if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, and as of right now, we're still trading right around this previous Fibonacci level of support, the 38.2% Fibonacci level at around 82 to 83,000. So at least in the short term, that is acting as a bit of resistance as of right now. And we do have a bit of support at just under 76,000 based on this 50% retracement level. But ultimately, if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we have significant support within this area based on previous significant resistance becoming new support in between around 70,000 to 74,000. And based on the volume profile indicator, we also have a lot of support at just under 70,000. And so as I've been saying, we're not guaranteed to actually hit those prices, but if we do start reaching those lower 70k prices, we'll likely find a lot of demand, a lot of buyers around that area. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, we do actually have an active bullish divergence on the daily time frame, as I've talked about over the last couple of days. And so obviously this means that we're likely going to see a bit of a short-term break from all of the bearish momentum, but not necessarily the end of all of the bearish price action. And so as always, the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence is potentially just a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action, consolidating sideways, which are the most common outcomes or most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence, most likely over the next 1 or 2 weeks or so, considering this is on the daily time frame. But then after this bullish divergence actually plays out, or potentially if we invalidate the bullish divergence by seeing a breakdown here in the RSI, for example, then of course we could obviously see some more bearish price action later on. So just keep that in mind. But for now, this is something to pay attention to in the shorter term. So I would not necessarily expect immediate significant bearish price action right now. Just expect a bit of a break in the meantime. But if we're taking a look at this 3-month Bitcoin liquidation heat map, as of right now, we still have significant liquidity building just below the price, sitting mainly at around 71,000, give or take. But basically, we also have a lot of liquidity at around 74,000. So ultimately, around this area of support, there's a lot of liquidity around there. And in case you're new to all of this, usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and technically the larger price structure or longer term price structure for Ethereum has clearly massively broken from bullish into bearish. As I've been saying a lot recently here on the channel, obviously we've seen significant lower lows confirm and a major breakdown below a multi-year line of support. So ultimately, the moment we broke below this line of support right here, and especially below these previous significant lows, these were bear market signals, basically pointing towards a larger bearish trend on the weekly time frame for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Ethereum price chart, at least for now, we're still just hanging around this Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at just under 1.9k, around 1870 to 1880 approximately. But if we start to see more candle closes confirm below that level, and especially if we actually reject from that level, flipping it into new resistance, in that case, the next significant level of support towards the downside, if we continue this pullback here, is sitting at just above 1.5k. And as I always say, Ethereum, along with a lot of the top altcoins out there, will likely follow something similar to what Bitcoin is doing. So obviously not the exact same, but if Bitcoin has a dump or a bit of a break from the bearish price action either way, expect something similar for Ethereum. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the weekly time frame, as of right now, Solana is still playing out the bearish break towards the downside from this massive bearish rising wedge pattern with a bearish price target at around $90. But as I've been saying this entire time here, from the moment we broke below this support at around just under 170 approximately, around 168, 167 approximately, basically, even though we have a bearish price target at $90, we still have significant support that we cannot ignore in between around 120 to 130. And obviously, over the last couple of weeks, the price of Solana has been respecting this support very nicely. Obviously, this is the exact price range that I've been talking about, where the price is starting to basically stop the bearish movement, at least for now. But if we ultimately confirm a break below 120, especially with a weekly candle close below 120, and especially if we flip this into new resistance by seeing a rejection like that, for example, in that case, simply just expect a continued move down towards around $90, that major price target for this rising wedge pattern. And so that could also potentially be another trading opportunity. Obviously, we already had this trading opportunity. Essentially, once we broke below this important line of support at around 167, give or take, that was a potential opportunity to short the price of Solana down towards this support. But at least right now, I'd not necessarily open a massive new shorts position right now at this moment, considering the price is running into significant support. But if we break that support with confirmation, that could potentially be a signal to open a new shorts position. And if we're taking a look at the daily Solana price chart, at least for now, we technically have a bullish divergence on this daily time frame, but we are pretty close to possibly invalidating the bullish divergence. So basically, we don't really have a lot of confirmation. We can't really be too confident in this bullish divergence right here, but it is technically there. And so based on the fact that this is a bullish divergence, obviously we are likely going to see just a bit of a break from all of the bearish momentum here, but not necessarily the end of all of the bearish price action. So once again, maybe a slight bullish relief or a bit of choppy sideways price action, especially with the price running into this area of support. But then ultimately, maybe in a week or two from now, it is possible we could continue the bearish movement lower later on. But remember, as I just said, we cannot really rely too heavily on this bullish divergence, at least for now, because we are getting very close to already potentially invalidating the bullish divergence if we simply, for example, see a breakdown in the RSI with a daily candle close, confirming the RSI breaking below this ascending line of support and especially into new lower lows in the RSI, that would invalidate the bullish divergence. But with that being said, taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, and of course, over the last couple of months and right now, we are still technically playing out this massive bearish divergence with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the 3-day XRP RSI. And obviously, I've been talking about this basically every day over the last couple of months, telling you we should not really be expecting a significant amount of bullish momentum towards the upside. Yes, we can see little bounces here and there in the short term. That's perfectly normal to see, but don't necessarily expect a massive amount of sustained momentum towards the upside like what we saw back here, for example, at least anytime soon. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 8-hour XRP price chart, at least for now, we've just perfectly bounced from this area of support all the way up towards this area of resistance based on previous support becoming new resistance, and that's sitting in between around $2.25 to $2.30. And as of right now, that is exactly where the price is starting to struggle as expected. And so obviously, as I've been saying over the last few days and even longer than that, expect the price to struggle within this area. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout with at least a candle close confirming above around $2.30, and even better, if we actually flip that previous resistance into new support like that, for example, then in that case, we could finally see a continued relief up towards around 250 to 260. We could find some short-term resistance at around 250 approximately, but ultimately the next significant area of resistance is in between 265 to 280 if we first confirm a breakout above 230. But remember, for now, we are finding resistance in between 225 to 230. And ultimately, at least in the somewhat shorter term, the price of XRP is kind of lacking momentum to either direction. Obviously, we're bouncing from support, but struggling around resistance. And ultimately, we're kind of within a bit of a larger sideways price range, as we can see, lacking momentum to either direction, at least for now. But as a very simple trading strategy, we can actually use these simple support and resistance levels to actually set up a trading strategy. For example, if we break below a key level of support, let's just say that could be a short position opportunity, or if we run into key support and actually start bouncing, that could be potentially a long position opportunity and then take profits around resistance. Or if we finally see a confirmed breakout above a point of resistance with confirmation, that could also be another short-term long position opportunity. So just by paying attention to these support and resistance levels, we can also develop simple trading strategies to profit during this type of price action. But if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, right now the price of Chainlink is currently retesting this Fibonacci level of support, sitting at around 1270 to 1280 approximately, so just below $13, acting as short-term support. But if we further confirm the break towards the downside below that level, and especially if we flip that into new resistance like that, for example, with a rejection, action. In that case, the next significant level of support towards the downside is at around $10. And remember, despite seeing short-term bounces from some of these levels of support here, ultimately we are simply looking bearish. When we're looking at the larger price structure or the larger trend as of right now, we are forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below multiple key levels and rejecting from multiple key levels of resistance. As I've been saying for months now on the channel, we're simply bearish, but we can see the occasional short-term bounce here and there along the way towards the downside. But remember, you can still profit from all of this bearish price action using things like short positions, for example, to profit during the bearish price action, or as a simple spot trader, you can simply just wait for lower prices later on to accumulate cheaper crypto assets for an eventual recovery at some point later on. So there's still ways to actually profit from crypto during this market right here. And as I said earlier in the video, the more bearish price action we see, the bigger the opportunities actually become. And so once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter what the price is doing, check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all